Welcome to, you know what, let's just call this part 4 of my Pentomino series. You don't need to watch the first 3 parts to understand what is going on, but it might be helpful. If you haven't watched them, pause here for an explanation of what is going on and what Pentomino pathfinding is. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. In the last video, we took pentominos into 3D and put them on a torus. This video, we're going to start with cube face boards. Specifically, the faces of cubes, like a Rubik's Cube, but not, because it's pentomino pathfinding. This comes with its own challenges, completely different to the torus. Take this P, U, and V for example. Oh. When put around a corner, they all become the exact same shape. Unlike the cube pentomino in torus boards, this will remain a possibility for every single board size. There also is another issue with the P pentomino with these corners. Yeah, don't do that. What's happening here is that on cube face boards, there are places where 3 cells meet, which are each of the corners of the cube. However, the P has a corner where 4 cells meet, so the P just cannot exist around this corner in certain configurations. Where did that 5th cell go? Narnia. Anyways, due to this 3-cell corner, we now have 6 potential new pentominos. The A pentomino can be formed by the P, U, and V pentominos. The G pentomino can be formed by both the X and F pentominos. The J pentomino can be formed by the Z, F, and W. The M pentomino can be formed by the W or Y. The Q pentomino can be formed by L, N, and Y. And finally, the R pentomino can be formed by F, T, or N. There are now 2 pentominos named Q and R. Well, honestly it doesn't really matter that much, because the torus Q and the cube face Q will never be on the same board, as they only exist on their respective shapes. Same with the R of course. As for these 6 new pentominos that only exist on cube face boards, I've decided to showcase both solutions where these 6 pentominos are considered their own thing, bringing us to 18 pentominos, and solutions where they are not, with only the 12 pentominos, and letting them make these weird shapes if they happen to cross a corner. Except for P is banned from crossing a corner in that way. 2x2x2 is where we start, where we only need the I and L pentominos to form a path of 12. Pretty simple to understand here. Moving up to the 3x3x3, we actually still do not need to distinguish 12 pentomino and 18 pentomino solutions, as both solutions are identical, containing the Y, F, P, and N pentominos, and then the L pentomino or the Q pentomino depending on how you look at it. This gives a path of 27, where there are amazingly only 2 unused cells. The 4x4x4 also does not need to distinguish 12 pentomino and 18 pentomino solutions either, as they are once again identical. Unlike the 3x3x3 though, none of the pentominos wrap around a corner, so all of the pentominos are just normal, which results in a path of 45. This uses every single pentomino except for U, V, and X. This solution has 6 empty cells, meaning creating a path of 46 could be possible by adding another pentomino and having 0 empty cells. Alternatively, it could be improved with just 9 pentominos as well, but no better solution has been found. Now we have 5x5x5, which was the largest board size I'm going to talk about, because with every board size up on the cube face, you actually increase the number of cells by 6 times what they're normally increased by when it comes to torus and square boards, so things start to get massive really quickly. The 5x5x5 with 12 pentominos goes up to 60, using every single pentomino with quite a bit of empty space. That's pretty much inevitable with 150 cells. This is where having those extra 6 pentominos now begins to make a bigger difference between these boards, as the 5x5x5 with the 6 extra pentominos goes up to 63 instead of 60. This solution uses 15 of the 18 pentominos, missing out on only Q, G, and N. Now this solution is absolutely crazy. I need you guys to understand that these 3D visualizations are only created by me after these solutions have been found. All of these solutions were made using the nets, which, I mean, if you look solely at this net, do you really think you would be able to understand what is going on? I certainly don't, so I want to give serious props to the people that made these solutions. With that being said, let's now move on to the final boss of Pentomino Pathfinding. 3D Pentomino Pathfinding. Things get quite complicated here. To start off this section, I'm first going to talk about the actual 3D Pentominos and some of their properties instead of getting right into the Pentomino Pathfinding. Don't worry Pathfinding fans, we will get there, it's just better to familiarize ourselves with the new 3D Pentominos before we head into Pathfinding with them. This part will be similar to the very first Pentomino Facts video, but much quicker. Before we get to the facts though, what Pentominos do exist in 3D? Obviously, the standard 12 Pentomino set in 2D can be pretty easily transformed into 3D like so. In addition to these 12, there's also 11 more 3D Pentominos. Here are all of them. Man, so close to the exact same number of 2D Pentominos. Oh well. These new Pentominos are A, B, E, G, H, J, K, M, R, Q, and S. Firstly, just like Pentomino Facts, let's start with symmetry. Nearly every single pentacube has symmetry. Remember our fellow 2D Pentominos, and how 5 of them didn't have symmetry? Well, all 12 of them have symmetry in 3D. How? Right through the middle. This now means that the X and I pentacubes both have symmetry in all 3 planes. Of the 11 new pentacubes, J, E, H, and R all have no symmetry whatsoever. A, B, K, M, and Q all have one axis of symmetry. None of the new pentacubes have more than one axis of symmetry. However, just like the original 12 Pentominos, 3 of these pentacubes also have rotational symmetry, being M, S, and G, thus making M the only new pentacube to have both reflectional and rotational symmetry, which isn't too surprising considering it looks really similar to the X Pentomino, but with one cell on top of the middle. When we look at the tetracubes, we now have an additional 2 tetracubes alongside the original 5 tetrominos, being the symmetrical P and the asymmetrical A. We've already been over the pentacubes that are also pentominos, and nothing changes with these new tetracubes, so let's only focus on the new pentacubes. The I tetracube is present in 0 of the new pentacubes, which isn't surprising, seeing as the I tetracube only stretches in one plane, adding any cell anywhere to it would then make it only stretch in 2 planes, and all of the new pentacubes stretch in all 3. The O tetracube is only present in the Q pentacube, which also isn't surprising considering the O tetromino was only present in the P pentomino. The S tetracube is only present in 2 of the pentacubes, being H and R. The T tetracube is only present in 3 pentacubes, being the E, B, and M. In fact, it's present twice in the M. 2 of the tetracubes are present in 4 of the pentacubes. The P tetracube is present in the K, R, and Q, all once, and the M twice. The L tetracube is present in the J and E only once, and the K and S twice. And finally, the A tetracube is in a grand total of 8 pentacubes. J, E, H, and R all only once, and B, G, A, and Q all twice. Just like the first Pentomino video, here's a chart that shows how many tetracubes are in every single pentacube. J, S, G, A, and H all contain only 2 tetracubes. K, E, B, and R contain 3 tetracubes, then M and Q contain 4 tetracubes. Let's not leave out the original 12 Pentomino turned pentacubes off this chart though. Here's the same chart containing all 23. I also made this utterly horrendous Venn diagram that shows which pentacubes contain which tetracubes. This is ugly and does not convey information well, so instead have this chart which shows them sorted into their respective groups instead. O and I still have the least at 2 and 3 respectively, but now P has the third least at 4. S stays directly in the middle with 6 pentacubes containing it. Meanwhile, T and A are tied at a grand total of 8 pentacubes containing them. And of course, just like last time, our runaway leader is L, which is in 13 out of the 23 pentacubes, over half of them. Now that we're more familiar with the 11 new pentacubes, let's now get into what most of you are here for. Pentacube Pathfinding. 3x3x3 pentacube pathfinding only requires 2 pentacubes, the S pentacube and the U pentacube. Pause. These graphics, while not bad, I can't understand what's going on here. This sucks. You know what? We're gonna have to bring out the big guns. Yep, we're going into Minecraft for these. Who'd have thought Minecraft would be so good for 3D visualizations? Anyways, I made a couple of these. There's these small versions, one in the open and one encased in glass, just so you can get a feel for what the blocks look like. I also made this much larger one that you can walk through so you can get a feel of the path. Alright, with that out of the way, let's move up to 4x4x4. This one jumps up to 6 pentacubes, giving a final path of 32. There's the L on the bottom, K directly on top of it, Y on the far end, S on the left side, J on the right side, and finally P directly on the top. Once again, this is a pretty terrible graphic, so let's head back into Minecraft. Here we have it. Once again, 2 small ones, with one encased in glass. Then this big one that'll now stop talking to traverse through. Pause at any time in order to understand it. Now we go up to the 5x5x5, and this grows quite a bit. This one has a final path of 54. This one contains the U, E, B, J, K, G, A, H, P, L, W, Q, S, and finally I. That's a total of 14 out of 23 pentacubes. This thing is a monster. Just like 3x3x3 and 4x4x4, here's 2 small versions. Although at this scale, you really can't tell anything. We gotta walk through it. And finally, we get to the utterly mind-boggling 6x6x6, which has a path of 77. This is made with the W, J, P, I, E, H, K, R, L, F, G, N, A, T, M, V, B, Q, X, U, Y, S, and Z. This is every single one of the pentacubes, which is absolutely insane. Since this board uses every single pentacube, and this is already difficult enough to create as is, no board sizes above 6x6x6 have been attempted. And just like the others, this graphic is horrible at comprehending anything, so let's head back into Minecraft. I only made one smaller version from this because you can't really tell anything that's going on in the smaller version. We really just have to walk through it. So here's the big version. This is an absolutely massive tower of pentacubes. Now the final part of this video, let's walk through it. With that, we conclude the Pentomino Pathfinding series. I want to thank everyone who helped come up with all of these solutions, from square boards, hexagonal boards, rectangular boards, torus boards, cube face boards, and 3D Pentomino Pathfinding. I'm still quite amazed at how many of you were inspired by this to create your own versions and to try and beat as many of the solutions as possible. I had a lot of fun making 3 more videos about it. There's still new stuff being discovered every day, and there's so many more types of Pentomino Pathfinding to be attempted. If you want to see what everyone has come up with and want to create stuff yourself, check out these spreadsheets. For now though, that's all from me. At least, until... A lot of you have been asking if I will make a hexagonal facts video, and yes. For now, I want to take a break from anything polyomino related, so don't expect it for a while. Like, sometime in 2025 for a while. In the meantime though, I do have other videos I want to make, so stay tuned for those. With that, the Pentomino series is over. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all later.